Ciao a tutti, siamo qui al Festival del Cinema di Berlino. Ad arricchire la quarta giornata di questa incredibile edizione il regista Bill Condon e gli interpreti Ian McKellen e Laura Linney, qui a Berlino per presentare Mr. Holmes, un interessante film che offre una visione totalmente diversa del celebre investigatore inglese Sherlock Holmes. Vediamo una clip.
What motive could that German woman have had to kill Anne? That night I searched for something to jog my memory of the actual case. And there it was. A picture. You know, a few years ago, I could have told you everything about the woman in that photograph. Certainly I'd recall what had become of her, whether she was victim or culprit. But that night, I couldn't remember any of it. All I knew for certain was that the case was my last, and it was why I left the profession, came down here, retired to my bees. So, I decided to write the story down on paper as it was, not as John made it. Get it right before I die.
You're not going to die.
Oh, I'm 93.
I had a great uncle who lived to be 102.
Well, then that seals my fate. What are the odds that you would know two men who would live that long?
Well, I didn't actually know him.
Come avete visto, lo Sherlock Holmes di Ian McKellen è uno Sherlock Holmes totalmente diverso rispetto a quello di Robert Downey Jr. Sentiamo cosa ci hanno raccontato i protagonisti oggi durante la conferenza stampa del film.
There was a difficulty with this part, playing so much younger than myself at one point. The playing old seemed to come rather too easily to me, thanks to Dave Earl's amazing makeup. But the real thrill was to be back with Bill. And I think what happened, I think the phone call went, Ian, are you free? Because I'm going to make a movie that I'd like you to be in. And I said yes. He then told me what the movie was.
I actually love the conceit which was in the novel, that there is another Sherlock Holmes, the one that we don't know about, you know, the one, you know, who didn't smoke the pipe and didn't wear the deer stalker, you know. And that play between the fictional and the real seemed to me such a fascinating theme to play, to sort of explore. And the idea that there's an actual limitation to where logic and facts can bring you, and that it is the imaginative leap of telling stories and putting stuff together and imagining things that actually allows you to engage on a deeper level. I thought that was a great, interesting idea to explore.
He had an experience that he'd never had before in his life. We would call it love, passion, possibility of changing his life when he's working with this Anne, now dead. And he feels that because he rejected her friendship and possible love, that he not only killed her, but killed something that was just beginning to grow inside himself, and he stopped being Sherlock Holmes. It's an amazing thing to happen in the mid-60s, but he stopped being himself. And we meet him now at the beginning of this film.
Yeah, because I love that period of time now, particularly when you get to work with people who you admire so deeply. And I tend to approach every role differently. I sort of read the script and read the script and read the script, and I try and let the script tell me what to do. I don't know if that quite makes sense. So there's basic research to do. There's just your own connection to it. There's the fantasizing that you do. There's, of course, the input from the director, the designer, the other actors. And it's my favorite process. I tend to work very quietly. I tend to work by myself. And then come to work, and then I tend to throw all of it away. I do a lot of research, and then I throw it all out the window, and you arrive, and whatever work you've done will tend to bleed through. And then you hope, and then you see how it, like chemistry, happens with the words on that day, on the set, with the person that you're looking at. And then, so I said yes before I read the script, which is what you do when you have the pleasure of working with someone who you love being around on screen and off. And then I read it and loved it. You know, the fact that I was able to work with Ian was always a dream come true. And she's an interesting character because of the context in which she's living. Not only she's sharing a household and working for the great Sherlock Holmes, with whom she really doesn't have a whole lot of respect. She's a war widow from that period of time. And the impact that the war has on everyone in this film is the sort of unspoken earthquake underneath the story. And I think you see it the most, I believe, in my character, and certainly through the journey to Japan. So it's also the two people getting to know each other. You know, the disguises that people put on, the fear that keeps people from each other, what people have in common and what they don't is all sort of explored within this relationship.
First of all, you know, when I read the script, I was surprised. You know, the Japanese role is in the Sherlock Holmes history, and then he played by Ian. I love his work. I watched a long time, and it was like dreams come true for me as a Japanese, and then also as an actor. And it was a great experience. Yeah, it was like dreams come true for me. Especially working with Bill and great cast and Laura. I couldn't see her on the set because most of my scene was here. And he was so helpful, gave me good advice, and then it was a great experience for me. I'm so happy to be a part of this movie.